Hey everybody, this is Egan from Get Found Madison. Let's talk about how we should be using our analytics. So the first thing we want to think about is, why do we even have a website? It's not just a brochure that we tell people to go check out once they've met us and heard of us. We want it to be a lead generation machine that people go to and find us from, right? So why use analytics? We want to make sure the website's doing its job to bring us those leads. That could be business if we're a business, that could be more customers or clients, or if we're a nonprofit, that could even be more donations, more volunteers. We also want to make the website do a better job. So where do people fall out of our funnel? Website analytics can help tell us that. And then also we can bring them back into our funnel. If they go to our website, leave, we can bring them back with ads. So when we first set up our analytics, we're going to sort of measure how things are going. We're going to try to make improvements, and then we're going to measure them. And then we're going to just keep doing this to make it better and better. The first place to start, at least in my mind, is talking about search engine optimization, SEO, how we get on that first page of Google and how we climb those spots, and also how we can use Google Search Console to do that. So basics on SEO, when someone searches for something in, say, a local search, in this case, dry cleaning Madison, we've got 10 spots on the first page, and on that top spot, that one gets about a third of the clicks. And then on down, it's almost a half each time. So anytime you climb a spot on that first page of Google, you could actually be getting double the clicks from that keyword. So it's really valuable to climb first onto page one and then higher and higher up on there. So you can go to this link or just Google for Google Search Console. It's free. You just have to verify that you own your site. And then you can start seeing the keywords or the queries that people actually search to get to your site, which is really valuable. So on the top of the funnel, we've got impressions, which is people who actually saw a link to your site. I should say your link appeared when someone did a search. And then your position is, where on Google are you at? So there's 10 on that first page, and then there's generally 10 on each page. And then clicks. And again, as you climb those positions, you're going to be earning more and more clicks, because that's where people click, is really those top results. And we divide our clicks by our impressions. That's our click-through rate percentage. So as an example, a law firm may see this in their Google Search Console once it's all set up. And the first thing to notice is we're sorted by the clicks, and most people are clicking from the site, not from law firm Madison, Wisconsin, for example. They're actually looking for specific legal information, and in this case they had a blog that answered some of these questions. So even though this is a local business, a local law firm, they're actually getting national searches, and on some of these, fired before 90 days unemployment, they're actually ranking #1 nationally, so they're getting quite a few clicks from that. So some ideas here are, I'm looking at this top one, the CCAP criminal background check. We're on position 8, I can see on the rightmost column, but if we spruced our SEO up on that, could we even climb some more spots? This is probably a blog that was done maybe even years ago, and not a lot of thought was put into it, and they didn't even realize they were ranking for this. So could they go back, clean that up, update it, and really make the title jump out so that people want to click it and come in and check out their blog post to answer that question? You can also look at the pages. So when you say let's go back to this, when you Google a CCAP criminal background check, the results that come up is not people's home pages, right? It's the specific page on the internet that Google thinks will answer that question. So it's not just our home page that shows up. So almost near the bottom here, the third one from the bottom, that's our slash. So that's the home page. And not surprisingly, that one shows up the most. It gets the most impressions, gets the most clicks. But these other pages for this cleaning company also show up. On the top, I see their Spanish language jobs page is the #1. I'm sorted by click-through rate right now, so I can see that one's really doing well. And we're getting a 6% click-through rate, 6.5%, and we're actually on the second page. So what can we do to jump even higher and get more impressions of that? If we're getting 241 in the last 28 days, that's not bad. There's a lot of interest there. And then when I jump down to the bottom of this, I see residential cleaning. We're getting 3 clicks out of 464 impressions. Not very good. So what can we do to that page so that when people are Googling for things like residential cleaning, or it could be synonyms for it, that our site or that page is ranking higher and it's more interesting to people and they want to click it. So this is I redacted the name here because this is a web design company in town that reached out to us recently. And we went to check them out on Google, and we saw that they have their brand name at their brandname.com and then no description at all. So this is not a result that people really want to click in Google. They may have a very nice store, quote unquote, that's their website, but they didn't put any doors, windows, or signage on it. So here's a better example. When I Google for plumbers, Madison, Wisconsin, I see I see results like this, and right away on the titles, people are putting plumbers, Madison, Wisconsin, because they know that's what people Google. Particularly when I'm doing a discovery search, I don't necessarily know that Capital Plumbing Company is what I want to go, or Four Lakes Plumbing, but this is what I Googled. Hey, that's exactly what I Googled. Great, there it is. Now it looks like they got some words running on the top one. They got words running together, ... So make sure to keep that under 65 characters, and that's a good way to do on the title. And then in the description, not bad. Notice that when the words appear in the description, they're in bold. So in WordPress, we go into Yoast, and we can set our SEO title and put the description in there as well. So this is really sort of the doormat, or this is the windows and the door to our store. So we want to really think about this and not make it an afterthought. So this is a free plugin, and once you've done that piece, you can optimize further. You say, here's my focus keyword, plumbers, Madison, Wisconsin, or whatever, and it gives you feedback on here's what you need to do on this page to optimize it further. I also strongly recommend the Keywords Everywhere Chrome extension, or you can get it on Firefox too. Once you get this set up, when you do Google searches, say photographer, Madison, Wisconsin, you can actually see the Google AdWords data. On average, over the last 12 months, 260 people a month have searched for this, and Google's recommending if you ran an AdWords on it, it would cost $1.65. Not too bad, right? And then you can see down, when you scroll down to the bottom of your Google results page, you can also see family photographers, wedding photography, specific ones, etc. And you can actually see how many people a month search these phrases. So with these two together, you're pretty much set to do your SEO. You can take these phrases you get, plug them into Yoast, and go ahead and optimize for those phrases. So you know what people are searching, and now you know how to optimize your web pages to make sure that people find them. So I have another business where we do custom oil paintings of people's pets. People send in a photo to splendidbeast.com, and we can give them a custom oil painting to hang on their wall. So this is an example from our Google Search Console, and I have to say, when I look at this page, it's quite painful for me. We can see that, for example, pet portraits, just in the last, however long this was, usually it's set to 28 days, there were 206 impressions of it, but only 6 clicks. So this is exactly what we sell, and yet we're not getting the clicks we want here. I just took this business over in the summer, so we're still working on the SEO. Same with custom pet portraits. I can see, now notice I've got a couple extra columns here on the left. I've got the monthly volume and the cost per click and the AdWords competition from 0 to 1. That is based on that same Keywords Everywhere data, which is pulling from the Google AdWords data. So once you have Keywords Everywhere, and then you go into Google Search Console in Chrome or Firefox, wherever you're running it, you get additional info. So why is the monthly volume different than the impressions, say on pet portraits at the top? Google AdWords is telling me 3,600 people a month Google pet portraits. I'm only getting 206 impressions. Well, when I go over to the right, I see that I'm in position 11.8, almost position 12, which means I'm on the second page. So if I want more people to see a link to this website when they Google for pet portraits, I need to be optimizing for that phrase. I could go all the way down here, but basically this is very painful for me to look at as the owner of this business, but it also shows me there's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of people Googling for exactly what we're trying to do, and they're just not necessarily finding us and not coming to our site yet. So recap, we can see when we've got that Keywords Everywhere extension, we can see the average searches per month, averaged out over the last year. We can see impressions, and normally this number should be about the same or similar, but a couple things could be different. If someone's searching it less or more than they did in the past year, if this is a trending thing, then your impressions could even be higher than what you see. Or if you're, like we just saw with the Splendid Beast example, if you are on the second page or the third page or the fourth page, you're not going to get impressions every time. Google's only counting impressions, supposedly, when someone does a search and your link shows on that result page they're on. They may not scroll down to it, so if you're in spot 8 and they just look at the top 3 or the top 5, that's still counting as an impression, but if you're on spot 50, that does not count. Obviously, we're also looking at clicks, right? That's when people actually come to the site, and so our click-through rate is clicks divided by impressions. Watching positions really closely, and we want to be climbing those, and that's why we're doing SEO, right? So with these free tools, Google Search Console, Keywords Everywhere, and the Yoast plugin, you're pretty much set. You can do a lot worse than this, and you can really do your own SEO from this. There's more that goes into SEO than that, but this is really a great start for getting more impressions, more clicks, more people to the website. Let's talk about Google Analytics. And I broke this up into we've got Google Analytics out of the box. We're just kind of running it basically, and then we've got more setup we can do to get more out of it. So just go to analytics.google.com. This is a free tool, and we just need to add a snippet of code to our site. And there's a lot of YouTube videos and things showing you how to do that piece. And then it's running, it's code that's running in the background, and all of a sudden you get all this free information about sessions, how many visits to your site, how many visitors, how long are they staying on the site, how many just go one page and leave. And then we'll talk more about setting up goals so we can see, are they going all the way down the funnel doing the things we want on our website. So when we go in, up in the corner, I've got how you reach these, what's the menu path basically in Google Analytics. So if you just look at overview, you can see over time how many sessions we had, users, page views as well, pages per session, how long are they on the site, the bounce rate, which we said is basically someone leaving after one page, not doing anything else, and also the percent of new sessions, new visitors. I can see that in the pie graph right here. So this is extremely valuable already. If I turn on demographics, I can also get some information about what age, what gender are people, and this could feed into perhaps my social media strategy. I could be targeting specific people that I already know are into this website. It's also good just to watch what percent is on mobile, or how are people accessing the site. Google's really changed to is changing to a mobile-first index and saying this is a mobile-first world, and that makes sense in the sense of most of us are on our phone when we're using the internet, and so this website is an example of that. Almost 63% of sessions were actually on mobile, so you better make sure your site looks darn good there. You can do the Google mobile-friendly test and just plug in your site and make sure it passes. But even beyond this, I would say check out every page on your site on multiple mobile devices. Make sure it looks good and uses well. So now we've got, so in the past we talked about SEO. That's the organic search traffic. There's a number of ways people can come to, different ways people can come to the website, right? They can come directly, they type it in and they go to a bookmark or something like that. Say they Google search it, that's the organic search piece. If they hit a Google search ad, that's the Google AdWords, that's a paid search result. If they click from another website, that's referral. They could come from social media. Could also potentially be running Google display ads or email campaigns. Those are all ways that people can come to the website. Now we can see where are people coming from, where were they before they came to our website, and then how are they behaving once they're on. So on this page, I can see that referral traffic, when people click a link from another site, they're staying 2 minutes on average, versus organic traffic, people, or I should say direct traffic, they're staying about a minute, or even social media traffic, only 50 seconds. Again, the number's smaller there. We don't have as many sessions, so maybe that's not statistically significant, but it's interesting to see how many pages a session, what's the bounce rate, just kind of what's the behavior based on how they got to our website. I also like to look at the sort of behavior flow, so we can see how did people come into the website and where are they falling off. So we've got these red waterfalls. That's basically people leaking out of our funnel here, and we want to try to fix those. So this is the path that people took. This is how they started. This is where they went, and this is where they fell off. So this is just great feedback of how's our website working exactly. How are people going through it? This one I really like to see is the site content. This is by page. Again, just number 2. There's the slash on the left. That's our home page, and then everything else it'll tell us what's the URL, what's the page we're talking about. How many views did this page get in whatever time frame we set? How many are unique page views, which is they're sort of saying how many actual users saw this. Maybe someone came back to it or looked at it multiple times. And then how long are they staying on the page? How often are they entering from this page? How often are they bouncing, only seeing this page, not looking at others? How often are they exiting from this page? This was the last one they saw on the site and they pieced out. So this is a great way to say, is anyone reading our blog, for example? We can go through and see, did they? And if we had a longer post, we could maybe even infer they read the whole thing. If the average time was 4 minutes or something like that, and it was a longer post, and that seems about right, that's really valuable. Another thing to think about here is, do you have pages that basically no one's going to? And do you need to keep those, or should you just take them off the site? Site speed is really important to look at. So again, this was a rude awakening. It's almost like when you're starting a diet and you look in the mirror and it's not very fun. This is kind of how it is for Splendid Beast here, with unbelievably high page load times. We really want to shoot for around 2 seconds, and that's what Google likes to see. 2 seconds or faster that your site loads. And we can see that the shop page, the e-commerce piece of it, it's loading in 12 seconds. When's the last time you waited 12 seconds for a web page to load? So make sure you're speedy here, and then if you want to know what we can do about it, you go into PageSpeed Insights and it'll tell you, here's some suggestions here. These are great suggestions to basically pass on to your developer. These are more technical, so even if you know your way around WordPress but you're not necessarily a technical developer, I would definitely recommend hiring someone technical to work on that. So We've done this for other sites, and we've had nice speed improvements, and we're working on it for Splendid Beast right now. Also check out GTMetrix, which is another sort of resource on giving you sort of details on how fast it'll load and what's the lag, what are the problems. So share this with your developer as well. All right, let's talk about the next step on Google Analytics. How can we do even more with it? Conversions. We've got micro conversions, which are small things that people might do. So if we're thinking of, say, a physical store, say we have a clothing store, people need to come in, people need to actually look at some things, maybe they need to try things on, but they're not buying yet. It's sort of the steps that happen before they take the ultimate step that we want. Ultimate step would be a macro step. So a micro step we might have, hey, they watched a video, they looked at a product, they read a blog post. On the macro side, it could be, hey, it's an e-commerce store and they purchased, or if we're a local business, maybe they submitted through a contact form, or they click to call or email us. So we can go into admin goals in analytics, and these are, I'll talk about 3 ones that are pretty basic that you could set up now. So destination, reach a certain page or reach a certain kind of page. So if it contains blog, let's count it as a blog post reach, Duration, how long do they stay on the site, and then how many pages did they look at? These are all fairly straightforward to set up. So as an example, on the destination goals for an e-commerce company, you can actually set up your funnel, and you can say, so first someone's going to need to go to the shopping cart, and then they're going to need to go to checkout, put in their address, and then the billing info, and then finally when they're done, order complete. So order complete is sort of the macro goal, and then the other ones would be micro goals, right, on the way to it. And once you set this up, by the way, you can port these over into Google AdWords. You can just import them. So you used to have to kind of do some separate setup, but now these two talk, and you can just import your Google Analytics goals into AdWords, so that's pretty slick. You can do your conversion tracking that way. Just to review again, why are we using website analytics? We want to know where people fall out of the funnel. We want to improve the website so fewer people do fall out. And when people do, we also want to bring them back, give them a chance to do that macro conversion again. So if you go into goals, funnel visualization, once you've set up that, this is with that e-commerce example, we can now see how many people are coming to the homepage, then going to the store, then adding to cart, then checking out, putting in their address, shipping, and then buying, right? And we can see people are falling out of the funnel on this. When you look at it in Google Analytics, it'll be top to bottom. You'll see it all in one. You can just kind of scroll up and down, but here I've got it side to side. But right away for this store, I can see we had 1,300 people on the homepage, and we only had 240 people on the store. So it's time to start looking at that homepage and see how do we get more people into the store part of the website. So conversion rate optimization is CRO, and that's basically we're making our website better so that we get more macro conversions and more conversions in general. So on that last example, on the homepage, do we have nice, big, clear buttons drawing people into the shop? Do we have pictures of products? Is there something more we can do on the homepage to basically bring them into that next step? Another thing we ran into is you should auto-advance it. So for Splendid Beast, most people would just buy one painting at a time, right? So if someone adds to cart, let's pull them right to the shopping cart. There's a setting in WordPress WooCommerce to do this. So anytime you can, just drag them right along and don't make people scroll back up and say, great, now I'm going to go to the shopping cart. It's not Amazon usually, so it's not like someone's going to shop around and buy a bunch of products. It really depends on your store, but if most people are just going to buy one thing, let's jump them right to the cart. That's just an example. Throw on some testimonials as well, and then also guarantees. Anything that's going to make them more likely to buy, you want to put this here in these steps. Test the checkout steps and also test them on mobile to make sure that it's a good experience. Don't show me 14 to 50 fields I need to fill in on one page. Give me multiple steps to it so that I can do each piece and I can see my progress and I know how close I am to buying the item. So remarketing then. This is very valuable, and this is a huge reason that we are looking at our analytics, right? So people come to the website, they leave, and we want to bring them back. So an obvious one for an e-commerce store is they visited, but they didn't complete a purchase. Let's create an audience so that then we can retarget ads to that audience. If they made it to the shopping cart, or even they say they made it to checkout, but they did not complete, it's, you'd pay more to bring someone like that back because they were further down the funnel, rather than cold traffic we're trying to bring to the site for the first time. How many pages did they view? Did they return to site? Did they spend 5 minutes? These are all sort of audiences we could set up and then remarket to later. Did they watch a video, etc.? So we're used to being remarketed. We go to Amazon all the time, or we go to different websites, and then as we're browsing the web on other websites, say the news or something like that, we actually see, hey, there's that website I was at earlier. That's interesting. And again, it's sort of that idea of we need to see things 7 times. It comes up a lot, or even just multiple times. This is a way to do that. If people are not always going to take that step the first time they come to the site, so have a visual when they're reading the news or whatever. You can actually be on that website and you run Google display ads. And the incredible thing about it is you only pay per click for those generally. So it's not like the old days where you paid per 1,000 people you reached. It's really, if someone clicked and went to your website, then you pay. So it's a great way to just sort of retarget. Another option is, so when you Google for Roofer Madison, the top 4 results are Google Ads. So this can be a smart strategy in general, in terms of get right in front of people only when they want to buy what you sell. So running Google AdWords, I definitely recommend trying, and there's strategies around that, kind of outside the scope of what we're saying here. But you can go in addition to that. So if someone's been to your site before and they're Googling this again, okay, we've considered a few companies, let's look for a roofer again, now I'm ready to buy. You can actually bid higher so that you show up farther up here when people Google this. So that's an option. Also, YouTube videos. So if there are people you want to bring back to the site, when they're browsing YouTube or watching videos, you can run ads. And again, I think it's a similar deal where if someone skips the ad here, you don't necessarily pay. They hit a certain threshold of how much of the video did they watch, and then you pay. All right, so the more advanced ones are events. So this could be button click, form submitted, and then you can even do what % of the video did they watch, how far down did they scroll on a page. These are kind of arbitrary labels you apply to things, but basically for each goal or event, you say, what's the category of it, what's the action, what's the label, what's the value. So let me show you an example. So normally you do this with code, and it would be send, so it's Google Analytics, this on the right, I'm looking at this JavaScript code. It's basically Google Analytics, send this event, and the category is video, the action is play, and the label is fall campaign. Only category and action are required. You don't have to fill in label or value. But it can be nice to use label to say, this was part of the fall campaign we're running, just so you know what this was. Okay, so how do we get down to that level of clicks? Google Tag Manager is just this amazing tool that I'm really excited about. So let's talk about it. All the tracking tags in one place. Why is that amazing? So Google Tag Manager can basically listen to what actions people are taking on your site and then send that information to Google AdWords, to the Facebook pixel if you're running Facebook ads, to Google Analytics, and it could also be other ones if you're using ones outside of this. So it's free. You go to tagmanager.google.com, and again, just like Google Analytics, you put some code on your site, make sure it's on all pages, and then you're up and running. So what's exciting about this is, here's all the things you can listen to, and of note here on the right is click text. So if you have a button that has particular phrase of sign up for our email list, buy now, or whatever, you can actually track down to here's what the text on the button is. Likewise, if you have particular forms, like your contact form, you can now track those submissions. And so we've got triggers then. So just some thoughts here would be, if someone clicks to email us, clicks to call, or navigate to Google Maps, or if they submit a contact form, then we can actually trigger an action. Page scroll and video watch percentage are possible, but they're not quite as easy. That takes some more advanced setup, and you're kind of back into writing code on those. But Tag Manager itself can handle these clicks and form submissions, which is really nice. And then we have the tags, so the snippet of code itself. So we can send information to Google Analytics, we can send it to Facebook, we can send it to Google AdWords. So on my site, for example, down at the bottom we've got our click to call. So if someone wants to call us, they can. And just a quick note on this, smartphones don't just do this. It's not like you put your phone number on a website and a smartphone knows that's a phone number and it clicks it. It's actually in some HTML code, so make sure it's formatted correctly. Similarly with your email, so we have info@getfoundmadison.com. You should do mail to:info@getfoundmadison.com, and then it's a live link, and when someone's browsing on their phone, they can actually contact you. So that has two benefits. It makes it easier for the people who are visiting your site, and it also allows you to do your conversion tracking essentially. So here's an example trigger. I can see that I just want to track links, and particular links. I want the element to contain TEL:. All this means is someone clicked to call us, and say you have multiple phone numbers on your site, any of those would count here in this case. And then we want to send that into Google Analytics, and just like that code we showed earlier, this is doing the same thing, but it's basically without the code. We can just say, what's the category, action, label, or value if we could. We can dynamically pass in the page that someone was on. So say we have a sidebar and people can sign up for our email list. Well, now we can actually know what pages are people doing that from. And now we can see what's working. So I like to use, so I think per view in Google Analytics, you get 25 goals, something like that. So I like to use all those. So here I've got click to request info, click for directions, click to call staff, click to email. They actually submitted an application, submitted a form, viewed a blog post. These are all goals I have set up, and now I can see by channel how effective is it. Hey, it looks like SEO won again. So over whatever time frame I specified, I can see goal 16, click to call staff. We got 9 calls based on our SEO traffic, which beat our AdWords traffic, it beat our direct traffic. Maybe we want to double down on our SEO efforts. Or maybe I've got 0 here from social media. We need to do more to get leads from Facebook. However you want to take that, but now you've got the data to see here's what channels are working. Now, it's nice to see just at a high level what channels are working, but what if we've got multiple Facebook ads running, multiple Google ads running, we're doing, say, different email campaigns? We can use the campaign URL builder, another free tool here, and tie that same information we just looked at of the goals that we want people to reach on our site. We can see was a specific campaign successful. So let's have an example. So this is similar here. So I say, here's my website, here's the campaign source, in this case newsletter, the medium's email, the campaign name I call fall_sale, and then the campaign content is dogs. Let's say it's for Splendid Beast here. This now gives me this longer URL, which looks kind of ugly, and you can hide it and you get a mini version here. That's the shorter one on the bottom if you want. Or if you're doing a Facebook ad or a Google ad, you can specify, here's the real URL I want to send people to, but here's what it should look like in the ad for the customer. But what this does is it passes this this tag manager tracking into the browser. So if you actually look up, sometimes if you click an ad, say from an email list or something like that, and you look up at the top of your browser what the URL is, it'll be quite long. So even though I'm on the Splendid Beast homepage, it's got all this other information in the URL. That's what this is. This is campaign tracking. And now we've got that same information of did people submit a contact form, and we've got it based on campaign. So really powerful free tools here. Starting with Google Analytics and then playing with Google Tag Manager to capture that. And one I didn't mention here is Google Tag Assistant. It's just another Chrome extension. You can see up in the upper right here, you can say, is my Google Analytics running? Is Google Tag Manager running? If I needed to test any of those events and kind of do some debugging, you can use that, and it's a great free tool. And then the campaign URL builder says, that's nice that my email is getting me calls, it's nice that social media is getting me calls, but what campaign specifically within the ads or campaigns we're doing is getting us the results? Now we can know that. Some great resources on this. You can just go to Google Analytics Academy to sort of learn the basics and more advanced pieces of Google Analytics. And then Measure School YouTube channel. I strongly recommend this one. You will learn 2 very valuable things if you check out Measure School. So one is you can learn how to use Google Tag Manager, which is how I stumbled across it by looking up how to do this. And then 2, you'll really see a great example of content marketing in action. He just provides such good kind of step-by-step and tutorials that you just want more, and so you end up going to his site and buying his classes, which I did, so I really appreciate him. Okay, Facebook Pixel and Facebook ads. So just some quick basics. People in town that I've been talking to have been a little confused on this. So when you're on Facebook, you're on your personal page. You also probably have a business page. If you really want to use Facebook effectively to market your business, you need a business manager account, and that's where you run the paid ads. With just a business page, it's possible to boost your posts, so you can pay a little bit, so sometimes people are confused on that. But to really be targeting people effectively and to be measuring the results, we got to have that business manager account, and then we got to link these up. So check out business.facebook.com if you haven't set that up, and then here's a video in the slides that can show you how to do all that. So one of the reasons we care about paid advertising in Facebook is that the organic reach is just down, down, down. So even if you've got thousands of followers, only a fraction of those are seeing your posts. So you really need, it's really pay to play now on Facebook. So even if you're just kind of doing little posts and things, make sure you're boosting them at least for $5 or $10 just to try to actually get in front of people, because that's just that's how the market is now. Enough people realize this is valuable, so it's worth money to be there. So Facebook Pixel is similar to Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager in that you put some code on your site, it runs in the background, and it can track what's going on. The difference is that it's user-based because Facebook knows who you are, right? Facebook is tied to your actual account. And so actually, even when you're not on Facebook and you're going around the web and browsing, Facebook is taking note of these are the sites you're going to. And this is not just for web traffic from Facebook. So this is not just for the ads we're running from Facebook. This is, you can set up the pixel and not even run an ad for another year or never, but have Facebook collecting the data so that you can retarget and target people in ads as you need to. So again, we can grab the code from Facebook. I'll show just a second where that comes from. But once you've got the code, you no longer need to go to your IT staff and say, hey, can you add this to every page of my website? Because once Google Tag Manager is running, you just say, the trigger is all pages, and here's the code that Facebook gave me. Run this on every page, and you publish it, and you're up and running. And just like Google Tag Assistant that shows you that Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager are working, we've got the Facebook Pixel Helper, which is a Chrome extension, and you can just see, yep, my page view registered, so basically Facebook got this data. So when you're in the Business Manager and you go to Pixels, so that's where you get that code from the previous slide there, but also just like you set up more advanced goals in Google Analytics, so you get even more out of it, same idea here in the Facebook Pixel. So when someone purchases, we want to fire this code here. If someone becomes a lead, add to cart, initiate checkout, etc. These are all events that are basically the equivalent of goals in Google Analytics. So we want to send that data. So what we can do is we've got our triggers in place on the right here. This is in Google Tag Manager. And then we can just say, fire each of these codes you gave me. And by the way, fire the general Facebook Pixel first. And then if someone initiates checkout or they add to cart or they complete purchase, fire it to that same pixel essentially. And now we've got similar data in Facebook that we have in Google Analytics, but it's not, Google Analytics is just saying for everybody, if someone does a page view, register. If someone adds to cart, register it. But now we've got 83 events, 83 add to carts on Facebook, and Facebook, excuse me, so they did it on the website, they clicked add to cart on my website, and Facebook knows about that. So if they don't complete the purchase, so it looks like only 39 did, I'm looking at the bottom right here, we had some people fall out of the funnel, so we could create an audience and start remarketing them. What's nice here is Facebook's minimum audience size right now is smaller. I think it's at 20. So right now I could be remarketing those folks who added to cart but did not purchase. So that's audiences here. First thing to do is this top one. When you go under audience, we got the custom file. So this is just in Facebook Manager and then audiences. We can go to custom file and upload all of our email list. So if we've already got subscribers, this is a great way we could remarket to them on Facebook, or we can create a lookalike audience of our customer file and get even more subscribers. So that's a great tactic. The one I've got highlighted here is website traffic. That's what we're talking about using the Facebook Pixel. So in this case, for Splendid Beast, we can say all the website visitors, and then we exclude anyone who hit the purchase pixel event, basically. So this audience name at the very bottom, I called it visited but did not purchase. So this is us setting up the remarketing audience here. And then we show them a Facebook ad. So maybe they were on desktop or something when they looked at my site previously, then they're browsing the web or something, then they go home and they're on mobile, and in their feed they actually see an ad even though it was a different device because Facebook is tracking across devices. And also for conversion then, if I say what's a successful use of this ad, if someone hits that purchase page, send that data. So Google Tag Manager is taking note of that. It's sending it to Facebook, and then Facebook now knows, hey, we got a conversion. That was a successful ad, basically. To do the measurement, we can go here, and this is just under Ads Manager piece. They've got some default ones, some columns to look at. I like to set up my own because I think sort of like a Google AdWords guy. So on the left, I like to see impressions, which is similar to what we talked about earlier. Reach is how many people we saw. Frequency is how many times do people see the ad. This one on the top ran way too much. People saw it almost 5 times. See, people get ad blindness, and we can sort of see that on the right here. The cost per click went way up, $2 per. This is a remarketing one. And I can also see the click-through rate. It was much lower than the one below it. It was 0.5%. It's not surprising because I kept showing the ad to people when I should have stopped. So watch the frequency there. Watch your cost per click. Watch click-through rate. To the right of these, I don't have them in the screenshot, but I also see how many website purchases did I get, and then how much total did I spend on this campaign, and then divide those out of how much did it cost me for each new purchase I earned. Last thing to talk about here is Google DataStudio. So now we've got all this analytics data, but not all of it's in Google Analytics. Some of it's living in AdWords. Some of it will be in Facebook. Maybe we're running Bing ads as well. Well, now we can have our data in one place. It's free. This is a drag and drop builder from Google. And basically, it can take updates automatically. Right now, here's the ones it can do. Analytics, AdWords, Search Console. These are the big ones pertinent to what we're talking about. But also, if you're running Facebook ads, or you just want to check your Facebook page engagement, how many likes, comments, shares do we get, or if we're running Bing ads as well. By the way, if you're running Google AdWords ads, you can just import those into Bing and just run them there too. Not very much additional work, so it's pretty easy. But when we want to report on the results all in one place, we can build a dashboard, and basically for these ones, we export the data, put it in Google Sheets, and then it can all go here. So we can see what devices people are using, what gender, new versus returning, how old are they, et cetera, et cetera. All this stuff from Google Analytics is now here in one dashboard that you can send to your boss, you can send to your client, and have this bookmarked. You can also see up in the upper right here, I've got basically those goal completions, how many contact form submissions, how many emails, how many people click for directions, etc. We can see what is our website doing for us. Down at the bottom, I've also got this integrated with Google My Business. So if this is a local business, or you've got multiple locations here, you can see how many times do we show up in that maps pack at the top of a local search. How many phone call actions, so people can, Google, say I want pizza in Madison or something. I don't even have to go to a website. I can just call right from that results page, or I can look for directions. So you're actually able to track this. And then we've got AdWords here. Now notice on the left, basically, we've got data from Analytics. On the upper right, we've got it from Google AdWords. And on the bottom, we've got Bing ads. And we're able to see, most importantly, on the right, we've got our cost per conversion. So we've got the cost, how much do we pay for all the clicks? So clicks times average cost per click gives us the cost on the ads. And then conversions is how many people contacted us based on this, based on those Google Tag Manager clicks we talked about earlier. And then cost per conversion is how much are leads costing the business. You can see our top page views here. The top SEO searches pulls from Google Search Console. How deep are people going on the pages? This is just how I set up the dashboards, but you can really do it however you want. If you prefer more visualization, do that. I really like this one. This is sessions over time. You could also do this with goals if you wanted to, and just say, how are we doing? So here I see we used to be at 800 organic search sessions per month back in March. Hey, now we're up at 1,200, so we're up 50% on our organic traffic. Phenomenal. We weren't running paid ads at all before. Now we are. That's another, 600 people plus per month that are coming to the site, 500, 600 people. So you can show this to your boss, you can show this to your client and say, here's how we're filling the top of the funnel, and you could do one just like this with those same goals previously. So thanks a lot for watching. Check us out at getfoundmadison.com.